opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our friends over in that right-hand corner right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And we have a great episode today. We're going to first dive into the scoreboard, give you all the results from last night. Then we're going to go into the brackets of the softball tournament, which starts next week. And we're going to dive into them a little bit deeper. We went over the brackets earlier in the week. We kind of showed them to you. Now I want to talk about some of the teams there in their road to a district championship at least. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Excuse me. And so we're going to do that today as well. So let's hop right into the scoreboard, though, first. Let's go right into the results because we have a lot to talk about today. And what we're going to do is we're going to hop into this scoreboard on ysnlive.com, which is always presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. Perfect time for a pool, guys. It's getting warmer. It's getting warmer. It's going to be 80 on Sunday. Gotta love summertime. Here we go. Thursday, May 2nd. Baseball scores for you. Mohawk gets the win over Blackhawk 14-4. Your final score there. The Warriors on a tear this year, and that continues with incredible offensive power last night. Lowville rocks Brookfield last night in the inter MVAC matchup. 13-1, the final score there. Edgewood gets into a tussle with Cardinal, gets the win 4-3. We said this Edgewood offense would be hard to handle, and Cardinal pitched pretty well against them, but still Warriors offense too much as they win 4-3. We scroll over to Jefferson. They fall to Ashtabula St. John 4-1. The final score, those Heralds, they're feisty over there. They get the win by 3 runs. Ursuline and Howland, it is the Tigers. They get the dub over Ursuline. That's a big win for Howland. Momentum up the wazoo out there in the jungle. 4-1, the final score. Tigers get the win. Hubbard gets the win over Conneaut, 12-2, the final score there. East Liverpool, they get the win over East Palestine, 11-1. We go into the MVAC. It's Garfield that gets the win 7-2 over Champion. Over with Springfield testing themselves outside of the MVAC. They fall to Girard 6-2. Warren JFK, no trouble against Southeast as their offense is more than enough in a 14-9 high-scoring victory. Middle Ridge traveled to Niles last night and fell to the Dragons 4-3, a big win for Niles as Middle Ridge came in hot. Newton Falls all over Liberty. They go into double figures, 10-0, the final score in a run roll fashion. Tigers looking good on the baseball diamond this year. Latonia gets the win over Sebring, 13-3, the final score there. Lordstown falls to Badger, 14-10. We have Beaver Local getting the win over United, 11-2, just that one run off of a run rule. that probably drives coaches crazy because you could have saved your arms, especially in baseball, when you have pitch counts to worry about. I gotta imagine those wins by 9 are the ones that just make you want to pull your hair out. I mean, not too much because you still won, but at the same time, you're like, man, we could have saved our arms a couple of innings, and we just couldn't get that one last run to make it a 10-run win. West Geauga does make it a 10-run win. They do save some arms. They beat Lakeside 11-1. A big one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to in West Branch, 12-10. The Warriors offense gets the win over Columbiana. This was a game where both teams had pitched a lot during the week. They were at the bottom of their bullpen. I think you knew, if you looked at the way these weeks have gone, that maybe this could be a high-scoring game. They both do have very underappreciated offenses, under the radar offenses that get overshadowed by the great pitching. But they've used their 1, their 2, their 3 already this week. So they were kind of getting into the bullpen in this game. And the offenses took advantage of that fact. Both offenses played really well. West Branch just had a little bit more in that 12-10 win. Canfield all over Heartland Christian, 11-1. The final score there. The Cardinals get the win. Hoban wins over Walsh, 7-3. The final score there. And then last but not least, Waterloo walks off Ravenna, 8-7. The final score there. Mason Schweitzer with the walk-off single. Waterloo has won 4 in a row now after that walk-off victory over the Ravens. We dive into softball next. NE8 battle between Hubbard and Girard. They had to complete a game from earlier in the season first, and they won that one 10-7. And then they played a full game, and they won that one 16-0. So 2 big Hubbard wins. Shows you kind of the differences of that team, because when they had to continue a game that they played early in the season, it was a close one that they had to pull out. And then the second game, they have grown a lot. They have gotten to a lot further than where they were in that part of the season, and Hubbard proved it with a 16-0 victory in game 2. Got to talk about Champion Lakeview. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we're done going over the scores. They won over Lakeview 5-0. The final score there. Another game that we'll talk about a little bit more when we're done with the scores. 11-8. South Range gets the win over Poland to stay undefeated in the conference and set up a really big matchup with Lakeview on Monday and Tuesday. Jefferson's able to beat Madison, hold off them 7-5. The final score. The Falcons get the win. Orange falls to Harvey 27-14. Beaver Local gets the win over Wellsville 14-0 run rule fashion for the Beavers. Lakeside falls to Bristol 22-6. Camel had a kind of crazy night in Crestview where they had to finish the game with Liberty. They had to finish the game with Crestview. Crestview had to finish the game with Liberty. It was a triple header, but none of them were complete games. They were all finishing suspended games. Camel had 2 wins, though, when they came out of it. They beat Liberty by the final score of 13-1 in their first matchup of the night. West Branch beats Salem 10-2. Jackson Milton beats Lowville 7-6. We go into East Palestine. They get the big win over Newton Falls, 13-3, the final score there. And Cheney gets the win over Niles, 17-4. So Cheney girls softball racking up the wins this year, as that's another one, 2 in a row in 2 days for the Cowgirls. LeBray gets the win over Warren Harding, 13-3, the final score there. Sebring gets one over on Latonia, 16-4. McDonald gets a little bit more than they expected from Springfield, but eventually gets the 8-1 win in 7 innings as they celebrated senior night the right way with the win over Springfield. We talked about Hubbard and Girard already. That was a part of a doubleheader where they had to continue one game, finish it, and then start the next one. Jackson Milton, the doubleheader in Lowville, they win game 2, 13-4. Austin Town Fitch, no problems against Menor, 10-0. The final, 10-0. The final score there. United in East Liverpool. United gets the win 17-1. Another record falls for the United program as Chloe Angelo breaks the record for hits in a season. So congratulations to her. Garrettsville Garfield gets the win 10-0 over Waterloo. Lizzie Moore pitched an excellent game in the circle for them. Badger gets the win over Lordstown 9-7. Pymatuning Valley able to take care of Shaker Heights 16-0. And last but not least, Louisville gets the nice win over Canton Hoover 7-3. So now let's go back, talk about some of these games. We have baseball, and the game I want to kind of go over. First and foremost is this Howland game. What a big win for the Tigers over the Irish. Big momentum win when you think about what it means for their confidence going forward. Let's check out the game changer and see what went down between the Tigers and the Irish. Okay. Took a minute to load there, but so bear with me. But we have it up 4-1. Howland gets the win. Box score for the Tigers. They scored 1 in the second, 2 in the fifth, and then 1 in the sixth. 4 runs on 5 hits, 1 error for Newton Falls. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors for Ursuline. So not a lot of offense, just 8 combined hits on the night for both teams. 2 RBIs, though, for the leadoff hitter in Howland, which is Luca Franzaglio. He went 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs, a walk, and a run scored. So a good day for him at the top of the order. And then if you want to find the other RBI for the day, Tigers knocked in 3 of their 4 runs with RBI. You have to go down to the bottom of the lineup in the 8th spot, as it was Anthony, I want to Marim Pietri, Marim Peretti, Marim Pietri. I hope I'm saying that name somewhat right. I'm trying really hard not to botch it. But he had the other RBI of the day for Howland. So the leadoff hitter has 2. The 8-hole hitter has 1. Everything in the middle, just 2 hits in between those 2 hitters, as Dylan Santee and Andrews both had 1 hit. They both went 1 for 3 on the day. Dominic Santee, excuse me, with the 1 for 3 day. And Aiden Anders with a 1 for 3 day for the Tigers. Runs scored from the bottom of the order off of a walk from Mr. Perry. That's a big name in the Howland athletics community there as well. So a big win for the Tigers as they go 4-1. And then let's want to shout out their pitching too, because I'll tell you what, when you hold the Irish to 1 run on 3 hits, you're doing something right. And Sully O'Donnell did a really good job. 7 innings pitched. He only gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, only struck out 1. So he was really getting weak contact. His defense had his back. He used 78 pitches to do it. 48 of them were strikes. So a really, really good outing for him. Not leaning on the strikeout either. Like I said, defense had his back. They only made 1 error all day. They made just about every play available to him. Ursuline had 1 hit, 1 hit from Anthony Treveri. 2 hits from Jake Ballig. He went 2 for 3, with a run scored. So big win for Ursuline there. Let's go down to softball. We have a couple of games to talk about before we take a break and then go to the bracket breakdown. I want to talk about Champion and Lakeview. This was a perfect game. Perfect game for Gabby Gradishar. Another one for her career. Gabby Gradishar and the champion defense. We've talked about this at length. I am a firm believer that perfect game should be tagged to not just the pitcher, but the whole team. The defense played really well. Look at this score and this game against the Bulldogs. Champion scored 5 runs in the first inning, and that was all they needed. So you probably a little bit of a jitter for Lakeview. They had to come out, and you're playing champion. You're nervous a little bit. They jump on you. 5 runs in the first, no runs the rest of the way on 7 hits for the Flashes. Addie Warzela was one of the big offensive contributors. She went 1 for 4 with an RBI. 2 RBIs from Zoe Pallett, who went 1 for 3. Grace Hadley had a multiple hit day, going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored for champion. Bottom of the order, hitters 6 through 9 had a combined 5 hits in 10 at bats. So impressive day for the bottom of the order for champion, which is something that they struggle with against Austintown. Fitch struggle with against Whitmer. Top half of their lineup was good, but they have to have that bottom half of the order set the table for it. And last night against a really good Lakeview pitching staff, they did just that. But the highlight of the night was the performance from Gabby Gradishar. 7 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, 14 strikeouts, and a perfect game because her defense also backed her up with no errors. This lineup for Lakeview is very good. It is very good. So to not only no-hit them, but to go a perfect game against them is dang impressive. These hitters have given a lot of people problems. They gave Columbiana some problems. We know how good their pitching is. Melinda Toe shut them out, but they still had a couple of hits off of her, a couple of extra base hits. So this is a good hitting team. So to perfect game them, that's one of the best performances of the year from Gabby Gradishar. Next game we're going to talk about, we're going to go into Poland. South Range and Poland played a wild one in Poland. There were multiple 4-run innings by both teams. 11-8, South Range gets the win. They jumped on top early, just like they did in the first matchup where they scored 3 first-run innings, first inning runs. South Range comes out in this first inning, jumps on with 4 runs in the first to take a 4-0 lead. Then it was kind of quiet until the 5th. It was 4-0 in the first, quiet until the 5th. And that's when everything started to really just kind of balloon into this high-scoring affair. Bottom of the 5th inning, Poland's down 4-0. And they come to the plate. And they work a couple of walks, and then it ends up being 2 big hits from their seniors back-to-back in Mary Brandt and Leanne Williams. They both knocked in a pair of runs, and all of a sudden it's tied up at 4. We go to the top of the 6th. Heidi Bartels, the 9-hole hitter of this lineup, steps into the batter's box, hits her first career varsity home run to lead off the inning, and then Kira Brogan follows her up. The very next batter, back-to-back jacks, and later on in the inning, Anna A. hits one for good measure, too. The Raiders answer Poland's 4 spot with a 4 spot of their own, 8-4 South Range. Poland, you think they're done? No. They set the table, a couple of more walks, couple more hits. Here come those seniors again. Mary Brandt, Leanne Williams, they both knock in 2 more. And all of a sudden, just like before, 1 4-run inning answered with another, and it's 8-8 going into the 7th. It really felt like, calling this game, it felt like we were destined for extra innings because they were just answering each other. But in the top of the 7th, Anna A. came back up to the plate and hit a 2-out, 2 RBI double to make it 10-8, and then Jaylee Wilt knocked her in to make it 11-8. The trend was setting, right? So 3 runs didn't feel good because Poland had 2 4-run innings. But I'll give Jaylee Wilt credit for the struggles in command that she had for this game. It wasn't her best game of the season, but in the 7th inning, it was back to normal Jaylee Wilt. She worked the strike zone. She got ahead of every hitter, gave up just a one base runner, and got out of the inning with a strikeout. So very impressive for South Range's Jaylee Wilt to navigate not her best day. 7 innings, gave up 11 hits. All 8 runs were earned. The big number, walked 4. That really hurt her with some walks in some big situations. But got 2 strikeouts in the 7th, finished with 7 in the day, and got the job done when they needed to the most. Poland's offense, they had 2 hits from Leanna Bocheri. She was 2 for 3 with a run scored. Mary Brandt and Leanne Williams, the 2 seniors, had all the RBIs of the day. Brandt was 2 for 4 with 4 of them and 2 runs scored. Williams was 2 for 4 with 4 of them as well. Poland also got hits from Kylie Hudrin, Olivia Horn, Cassie Blanche, and Avery Yakubovic, as well as Eliana Thompson at the top. She also walked 2 times and scored 2 runs as well. South Range's offensive numbers. Kira Brogan at the top of the lineup went 4 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs scored. Jaylee Wilt went 3 for 5 with 2 RBI. Anna A went 3 for 4 with the home run and the 3 RBI and the 3 runs scored. Selena DeJesus had a good day, 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. She has 11 RBI on the week in 3 games so far played. So she continues to swing a hot bat, and she got the Raiders offense started in the top of the first, was a big part of that 4-run first inning. And then, of course, Heidi Bartels had the home run, was 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. I also want to give a quick shout out to Poland's pitching staff. They did really well. I think Coach Surich wanted to make a conservative effort to really, really avoid showing Olivia Horn to the Raiders a second time, especially when they know that there's a really good chance that they're going to meet each other again in the district semifinals. And Poland knows that a road to a district championship goes through South Range. You can't avoid it. It's going to be there. Again, if they both win their sectional tournaments, then they'll be in the district semifinals against each other. It was the district championship last year. So I think Coach Surich made he was not going to really use Olivia Horn in any kind of long capacity. Now, he did bring her in the 7th to try to get those last outs. Didn't work out for him that time. But Lily McDonald and Addison Dre both did a very serviceable job keeping Poland in this game, especially Addison Dre in the middle chunks of this game where South Range was up 4-0. They could have blown it open. They didn't. She held them to 3 consecutive scoreless innings, kept Poland in the game. Poland eventually got those 4 runs, and then that's when the scoring started to really occur for South Range. But those 3 runs, 3 innings of scoreless softball, all by Addison Dre, were very impressive. Put some runners on, got in some stressful situations, got out of them. And that's going to be important for Poland. If they want to make a deep run, they're going to have that bullpen that's going to be able to come in when they need it, because they can't think that against the lineups they're going to see, if they get past South Range, if they get into regionals, if they get into state, however far they go, they can't think that one pitcher is going to run them the whole way. They got to be able to pitch with a bullpen. And Lily McDonald making strides after missing the first couple of games. And then Addison Dre with probably a very, very confidence-driving game for her in the circle. But South Range gets the win, and like we said, it sets up that Lakeview South Range matchup on Monday. Before that, though, South Range does go to Stowe tomorrow to play the Bulldogs and Talmadge, who are the defending Division II state champions. I want to talk about one more game before we take a break, and it is Austintown Fitch and Mentor. Sydney Watts, another perfect game, 5 on her career perfect games, 15 no-hitters now. This was not a pushover team in Mentor. They have 14 wins coming into last night. They had beaten Brookville Broadview Heights this year. They had beaten, I want to go over the list of teams they've beaten real quick because they have some impressive wins on the year. All right, so Minter has wins over Brunswick, Medina, Gilmore Academy, Painesville Riverside. Those are really high-quality softball teams. For example, Minter and Brunswick both have 16 wins on the year. So these are really good teams that Minter has wins against, and they could do nothing against Cindy Watts. It was just she did it in 50 pitches, 5 innings, 42 of her pitches were strikes. It was just one of those games where she wasn't missing the strike zone, and when she's not walking people, you're going to have a real tough time putting multiple runners on board. She hit a home run. Kylie Folkwine hit the walk-off home run to give them the run rule. It's just a typical Fitch domination from them. And how they're number 5 in the state right now, I don't know what these writers that are voting on the state poll are on, or what they're watching or what they think. But if Fitch ain't number 1, they're definitely number 2. I mean, you can make an argument for Anthony Wayne, sure. But this is the reigning state champions, and they're looking really, really good right now. And somehow they're number 5 in the state. Make that make sense? I don't know. So I don't pay too much attention to state polls because it's a bunch of writers who haven't really seen the teams live, just voting based on records. And it's not really a great representation on who's great in the state. What I pay attention to is 1, the game changer, and 2, the RPI. Right? So Fitch, I think, once again, you can make an argument for 2, I guess. You could say Anthony Wayne is up there. They've had a lot of good wins this year. They're looking really good. But to have them at 5, it's kind of it's asinine for me. So, hey, my 2 cents. On that note, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and look at these brackets on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by those guys you just heard from, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Let's go into the bracket. I promised it. I promised a bracket breakdown. We're going to do it. We're going to bring up the NEDAB, Northeast District Database, on the screen. We're going to go over these brackets. We're going to start in Division 1. We're going to Division 1, East 1, and see how far we can go before we run out of time today. And try not to talk my butt off here. You know how much I love softball. North Canton Hoover, the top seed in this one. Well, I should say the top line in this one. And then we have Hudson down there. They await the winner of Hudson and Harding. Canton South has the bye in this one. They await the winner of Cleveland JFK and Mentor, who we just saw against Austintown Fitch. Louisville is the 3 seed. They are the top seed in this district. They await the winner of Kent Roosevelt and Nordonia, who's going to be in Howland, I believe, tonight. Painesville Riverside will be waiting on Masson Perry versus Lakeside. So one of the things, obviously, Louisville, there's another one, by the way, for keeping count, where we're keeping out of obviously's. There's another one right there, too. That doesn't count, though. Wednesday, I was saying it like 5 or 6 times in the span of 20 minutes. So when you start to notice things like that, I wanted to count them. My tally right now for yesterday and today is at 9. So, not that bad. I guess when you get aware of it, it starts to happen less. But man, on Wednesday, I said it like so many times. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So let's go into Louisville's district and how it kind of shakes out. They are the 3 seed. They'll have what I think is a pretty fairly simple sectional. They're waiting the winner of Roosevelt and Nordonia. I think Nordonia is the better team, hands down. I think it'll be Louisville-Nordonia in the sectional finals here. You look at the rest of their district, and when you talk about district semifinals, the teams that they could face if they get that far, Painesville Riverside, quality team. We've seen them a couple of times against YSN schools. We saw them against Boardman. They're the 8th seed, but I don't think it's a guarantee that they get past Perry. Masson Perry coming out of the Federal League, and we know the Federal League is very tough. It's even if it's on a quote unquote down year this year, it's still competitive. It's hard. You get battle tested. I'm not convinced that the Riverside beats Perry. That's going to be an 8 versus 9. I'm really actually intrigued by that game. If you held me down and made me choose a winner, I would actually probably pick Perry to win that game. When you look at Perry and the season they've played a lot of really good teams. They're like I said, battle tested. And I think they're definitely a quality opponent. And like I said, I would pick them to beat Painesville Riverside. That's not a knock on Riverside. I think the Beavers are a very good, well coached softball team, and I think they have a chance to win. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I'm just leaning a little bit towards Massillon Perry right now to win that and get into the sectionals. And then if that were to happen, Louisville versus Perry, that's an interesting matchup in its own right. I mean, if we look at Louisville's schedule, I want to double check, but I believe they've played Perry this year. They did, and they lost 6-4. So when I'm thinking of a possible district semi between Massillon, Perry, and Louisville, I'm thinking that's one. It's a revenge game, but watch out because just because Louisville's the 3 and Perry would be the 9, don't think that is a gimme for the Leopards. In their regular season meeting, Perry jumped on them early, scored 3 in the first, 4 in the 5th, and then 2 in the 8th as it went into extras. Those 2 runs were the difference makers. The big thing about Perry against Louisville, what they did really well, you're going to allow your runs, but they kept that Leopards offense without an extra base hit. No doubles, no triples, no home runs. And with the power that is littered through that lineup, that is really hard to do. So their pitchers did a good job missing the meat of the plate and not giving up those extra base hits. So I think I'm gonna pick Perry over Riverside for sure, and I think Louisville versus Perry would be a very good district semifinal. Now, if that's the case and Louisville wins, they're probably going to have to deal with Hoover at the top of this order, and it's a 4 seed, and they just beat them last night 7-4. So make sense. They lost to the 9 seed. They beat the 4 seed earlier. It's softball, right? It can be very fickle. But I think Hoover in this part of the bracket has a pretty good chance to get to that district championship. They're not going to be tested by Hudson or Harding and Canton South. I mean, Eastling North maybe, but I've seen them at McCoon. I think Hoover's a better team, more well-tested team. I always kind of give a little bit of edge to that Federal League. And I think, although North is a very good softball team, I think they're more built for a lineup. Hoover has better pitching. Pitching wins tournament games. I would go with Hoover in that game, and it would be 2 rematches for Louisville in the district semis and the district championship if they make it that far, and if it plays out the way I expect it to. If the numbers play out, it'll be Louisville versus Riverside in that semifinal, which would not be a rematch. I don't believe they've played Riverside this year. No, I'm right. They have not played Riverside, so I think it'll be Louisville and Perry doing battle again in the district semis. We'll see. It's a very interesting district, and there's the 3, the 4, the 8, and the 9 all in it down there in Mentor. It's going to be a fun time. So now we go into the next one. That actually took more time than I anticipated. We might have to break this breakdown into a couple of days because I get off on a rant, man. I love talking about softball. Austintown Fitch is the top seed in this district. They are in this bracket. This is the Youngstown State bracket. They will await the winner of Brush, the 31, and Mayfield, the 30. Sorry, guys. No knock to you and your team, but you can just Sharpie and Austintown Fitch up there in the district semis. They don't have the batters that are going to be able to compete with that level of pitching. Madison 22, Washington 24, and Green is 18. Green is up and down this year. They don't have a winning record. I know Green has played Fitch plenty of times in district games, big games. We saw him in the district championship against Fitch not too long ago. So I get Green as a program that knows how to win, but they are kind of up and down this year, and that does not bode well for tournament teams. You play really well one game, and then you don't the next. I still give them an edge a little bit over Madison. I don't think Madison plays nearly as hard of a schedule. So I would assume that Fitch will meet Green in the district semifinals at YSU. We look at the bottom half of this bracket and who Fitch could possibly play in the championship if they make it that far. It's Chardon's World as a 6th seed in this bottom half of the line. They're not going to be too tested. I mean, Cuyahoga Falls pretty good as a 17. I'm going to see Stowe this weekend, so I'll have a much better idea of what they look like because they're going to be playing South Range, and I'll be down there for that one on tomorrow for the doubleheader with Stowe and Talmadge. So I'll be able to see a little bit on what they look like. I haven't seen them live yet this year, so I'm excited for that, but I don't think either one of them is going to really challenge Chardon. Glen Oak could. But Glen Oak's going to have to get past the winner of Solon and Ellett in 15, 19, and 13. Not a gimme. I don't buy Ellett's, but I do buy Solon. I could see Solon going in and getting the upset there over Glen Oak and getting into the district semis. But if I had to, once again, if you're forcing me to pick, I would go Glen Oak in the semis with Chardon. Chardon would win that semifinal in my eyes, and you would see Fitch versus Chardon in the district championship would be my guess. We'll go into the next one, East 3. Walsh Jesuit, who is a very good team, and you could have made an argument for the 1 seed for them on their side of the coin. They have Susla back, the star pitcher they got hurt last year. They will have an easy time in their sectional. They'll have Alliance and Canton McKinley to contend with. Their other sectional already kind of figured out. They're going to play the winner of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin and Hoban. Whoever wins that sectional final right there. Hoban, maybe not as good as last year. They don't have Faith Porter anymore, who's now playing at Miami, who is now the regular season champions of the MAC. So congratulations to her and her success. But they're still really good. Their lineup is really good. And one of the things about their lineup is they have some players that have found some power in their bat that wasn't there last year. Taylor Gehring was used more of a on-base person last year, get on base, but she's hitting bombs this year in the top of the order and really being a productive hitter. So Hoban's finding a lot of offense. And their pitching's young, growing continuously. If they can get them in the right spot, maybe get them some confidence, I could see Hoban winning this sectional final. I never sleep on NDCL in any sport because they play a brutal schedule in every sport they play. So I never sleep on the Lions. I never trust their seed. So even though they are the 20, they could be good enough to be the 13. I haven't seen them live. I just know that NDCL in every sport is a little bit underseeded. Whether you're talking volleyball, basketball, I don't care. I've always seen NDCL, and when I see them, I go, they don't look like they're that low of a seed. And I would assume that the softball team's going to be the same way, where they're 20, but maybe they look like more of a 15, 14, 13 seed. Don't know. I haven't seen them live. I'm just going on past experience dealing with Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. The next line of the bracket, you have Jackson. I'm high on Massillon Jackson. I think they're a very good softball team. I think they're underseeded. I think they should have been top 10. And I think they're going to be tested in the first round against Willoughby South. This will be a fun sectional final, 11 versus 12. But I'm going to give the edge to the Polar Bears there over the Rebels. And then you go down to the bottom, you have Boardman, the 10 seed, against Lake and Twinsburg. Once again, Uniontown Lake is another team that's going to be seen by a Ysn school here soon. They're going to play Louisville. I'm leaning towards Twinsburg. I've seen them live this year. Well, I've seen them not live, but I've seen them on tape from Game Changer this year. They're a good softball team. They might be underseeded too, as 26. They might be more of a 20. So I think Twinsburg might be able to sneak out of that sectional semifinal and find their way into Boardman. But either way, right now, Boardman is trying to find their footing again. They've had a couple of injuries. They've had a couple of, slumps on the hitting that they didn't expect to happen. Trying to find their ground, trying to find their footing, but they've had pretty good tournaments. They almost won a district championship 2 years ago. They came within, a couple of just key plays. So I never count out the Spartans. They're the 10 seed. And of course, I'm going to pick a Ysn school to win the sectional final there. They're probably going to play Massillon Jackson, I would assume, in the district semi. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Willoughby South. They're a good softball program with a lot of tradition. But I'm going to give the edge to the better schedule, and that's Massillon Jackson for sure. So wouldn't be shocked if it was Massillon Jackson Boardman in that district semifinal game, which that would be a really awesome 11 versus 10 district semi. It's really interesting that we have 10, 11, 12 all in this side of the bracket. Because that means you have to fight claw and just scrap your way into a district championship game if you're going to get there. Now, Boardman has not played Massillon Jackson this year, but I know they've played them in the past. When you look at the rest of their schedule right now, Boardman has a couple of games left in the slate before tournaments. They'll start their tournament run on the 8th, but they have a game tonight against Keystone, which will be a good game against a very good Division III program. They play a doubleheader tomorrow against Normandy and Revere, and then they'll play Marlington on Monday. Those are all going to be on the road too. So Coach Moot's trying to test their waters and get themselves right before this tournament against quality teams. So they're not going to be able to just go and get, easy momentum. But if they get some wins in that stretch and bring momentum into the tournament, that Marlington game's the 6th, they have a day off and they'll play against the winner of Uniontown Lake and Twinsburg, who I'm leaning towards Twinsburg a little bit in that. Boardman did a good job, though, getting a home game. We're proud of them for that. So that game will be at Boardman on the 8th in the sectional final. And this district will be held at Massillon, Washington, who will also be hosting a regional in Division III. So it'll be a very busy softball postseason for Massillon, Washington. You know what? Talked myself right out of time where we're gearing up to 2. So we're going to just stop at Division I. Man, we have plenty of days, right? We can talk about softball all next week. Don't worry about it. I want to give everyone the same opportunity. I don't want to be able to just, word vomit for Division I and then speed right through 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to stop. We're going to stop for today, and we're going to check out, Division II on Monday. We'll have hopefully time to do that. We're going to break down the boys brackets, so it'll be announced on Sunday night. We're going to go through them, but that's usually a quick run through. So we might be able to have the time to come and break down at least Division II on Monday. That'll be what the Monday's the 6th. Give us Tuesday. Division 3 and 4, there are less teams. So maybe we can get through 2 divisions in one day on Tuesday. So my goal is to have every bracket kind of talked about, broken down by Wednesday. I'm going to put that deadline there, and we're going to have it happen because Wednesday we can't. We have running Wednesdays. We have Scotty. That show is booked, so we cannot talk about on Wednesday. We will have every bracket broken down and talked about by Tuesday, by the end of Tuesday's show for sure. Even if I have to go into overtime on Tuesday, I will. I'll do that. I'll push the 2:00 hour on Tuesday if I have to. But I promise you, by the time you get into Wednesday, which are most of these sectional finals, we will have every bracket talked about. Might have some results too. I mean, we're gonna have some results on Tuesday from the Division One start. So that's going to do it though for today's show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a fun ride, man. We have a lot of weekend softball on the network and baseball. Check out our schedule at ysnlive.com/live. Tune into the games. Got an awesome doubleheader that I'll be at Stowe tomorrow. I got the Battle of 224 tonight, Canfield, Poland. It's going to be a fun 2 days for me. And Ty Bartell makes his return from Vegas. He'll be at Mohawk tomorrow for Austin Town Fish as they make a road trip across the border to the PA State to play the Warriors. So going to be a fun time. Check it all out, ysnlive.com/live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you all after the weekend.